1, 2, 3, 4. Hello friends, and welcome back to Swift Guitar Lessons for another lead guitar tutorial. In today's session, I'm going to be sharing with you a very simple but powerful approach to being able to solo over the turnaround section of a 12-bar blues, shown here in the key of E. We're going to get started reviewing that progression, but also learn some more advanced chord shapes to make it sound a little bit more bluesy, a little bit more professional. From there, we're going to review the scales that all of my licks are coming from, then I'll break down that lead part for you step by step. I got tabs and a full study guide available for you at patreon.com/swiftlessons. You can support the channel there and gain extra resources for all my popular YouTube guitar lessons. Now, let's get started with your lesson. Okay, close look at the fretboard. We're getting started with section 1 of this lesson. Here we're going to review the chord progression that's at the heart of the blues genre, the 12-bar blues shown here in the key of E major. But what I'm going to show you is a slightly more advanced version of that with more changes and some more complex chord shapes. So it's still 1-4-5 in the key of E, but for the 1 chord, instead of just playing a regular garden variety E chord, we're going to play E9, a little bit more flavorful. Okay, so I have the 7th fret of the A string, that's my root note E. Then I'm going to have the 6th fret of the D string with my index finger, the major 3rd, and then my ring is going to bar across the G string, B string, and the high E string to create that E9 chord shape. Now, remember, if there's no open strings inside of a chord shape, then it's a movable shape, meaning we can use this to create every single 9 chord in every single key. Alright, just like that. Okay, the other chord that we're going to need is the 4 chord. In this key, it would be A, but instead of playing the garden variety A major chord, we're going to play A dominant 7 in kind of an interesting way. It's going to look and sound like this. Alright, my thumb is wrapped around to the 5th fret of the low E string. Then I have my index finger on the 5th fret of the D string. That's that dominant or flatted 7. Okay, what makes it a 7 chord? I have the major 3rd on the G string, 6th fret, and my middle finger's playing the 5. It's going to be the 5th fret of the B string. Okay, and for those of you who don't know, these numbers that I'm mentioning are coming from the scale, in this case in the key of A. It's very important to me that I know what scale intervals I'm playing on each string. Okay, so far you have the 1 chord, E9, you have the 4 chord, A7. Now we're going to play the 5 chord. We're going to make that, instead of just B, we're going to play B7, okay? And to do that, we're going to take this A7 chord shape up a whole step. So, A7, B flat 7, B7. Because remember I told you, this is every single 7 chord since there's no open strings. I'm blocking the A string, I'm blocking the high E string, so I'm only hitting fretted notes. So now you have a 1-4-5 in the key of E, the E9, the A7, and that B7 chord shape to create a blues. Now we need to get the structure of the progression down. Okay, excellent. Now I'm going to show you how you can apply that 12-bar blues structure to that more advanced version of our 1-4-5 progression. And I'm going to see if I can keep the time as I teach this to you. So getting started with our 1 chord, E9 for a measure. 1, 2, 3 to the A7 chord for 1 measure. 3, 4, back to the 1 chord for 2 measures. Alright, to the A7, 2 measures. And then we're back to the E9 for 2 measures on that 1. Then the 5 chord B7, 1 measure. To the A7. And then the rest of the turnaround, E9, A7, E9, B7, all for 2 beats there. Now, the area in which we were soloing over is going from that B7 chord, 2, 3, 4, the A7, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that to me is the entire turnaround, because that's where the changes start to get kind of quick, and you would want to be able to have some ready-made licks available to yourself. Okay, great work everybody. You've learned how to play a 12-bar blues using some more advanced chord shapes. Now we're jumping into section 2 of this lesson, our scale positions. So we're going to learn 3 scales, one for each of the chords present in our progression. Now, a common soloing technique for blues and for rock music is to apply the scale that corresponds with the chord being played by the rhythm section. For example, if someone plays for you the 1 chord, you might throw in some licks being created by the E blues scale, perhaps rooted off of the A string on the 7th fret. Alright, then the 4 chord might come in, and you might find the A blues scale, perhaps found on the D string 7th fret. Alright, then the 5 chord might come in which case you might throw in some licks built from the blues scale in B, also found here on the 7th fret, but now rooted off of the low E string. Okay, so many different possibilities there. Now the best thing of what I'm going to show you now is that all of these scale positions are rooted off of the 7th fret, and they kind of overlap one another, making it very, very easy to flow in between these scales as the progression moves. Okay, now the first scale that I want to show you is the B blues scale, because I'm talking about what you're going to play when that B7 chord rolls around in the progression. So, the scale you need to know, that B minor blues scale, looks and sounds like this. Okay, that was 7 to 10, the A string, 7, 8, 9, 7, 9 on the D string, that's 1 octave, 7, 9, 10 on the G, 7, 10 on the B, and 7, 10 on the high E string. Alright, you can pull out so many great licks out of that scale when that B7 chord rolls around through the progression. Okay, great. Now we have a pattern of notes that will work very well over top of that 5 chord B7. Now, if you want to play over top of the 4 chord A7, we could just bring that down a whole step. But what I'm going to show you is how to play that A minor blues scale rooted off of the D string, in what some players would call D position if you're familiar with your caged system. So, it's going to look and sound like this. The D string, 7-10. G string, 7-8-9. B string, 8-10. And also the high E string, 8, 10, 11. This is that little area in the key of A minor that some people call the upper extension. Alright, but you can take it down to that D string to finish up that octave. Okay, so far you have 2 scales. B minor blues scale, and also A minor blues scale. Now, the last scale that I want you to learn is for the 1 chord, E minor blues scale. It's going to look and sound like this. Okay, so that was the A string, 7 to 10. D string, 7, 8, 9. You're starting to see a pattern here, right? 7, 9 on the G. The B string, we're going to play 8, 10, 11. And then on the high E string, we're playing 7 to 10. Just like that. Okay, and now you have the scale options for the 1, 4, 5 in the key of E. For the 1 chord, for the 4 chord, and for the 5 chord. Alright, for the 1, 4, 5 progression, a scale position for each one of those chords, you'll be able to switch in between them as the chords change throughout the progression. Okay, tremendous work, everybody. You've memorized a more advanced version of our 12-bar blues, and you've also memorized 3 scale positions, all rooted off of the 7th fret, all overlapping one another, so that way you'll be able to solo over top of the turnaround section of that progression. Now we're jumping into section 3. I'm going to show you 2 hot licks and a lead-style turnaround to play over those changes. Okay, so remember, we're playing over top of that part of the progression where we have B7, 2, 3, A7, 2, 3, and the E, the A, the E, the B. That entire turnaround section highlighted in blue on your PDF study guide. Now I'm going to play your series of licks for you at a very slow tempo and break them down chord by chord. It's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and... Okay, so over that B7 chord, I played. Borrowing one note out of my major scale for extra flavor, major scale key of B. Okay, so, very inspired by Stevie Ray Vaughan, I'm going to bend the G string up, and then play 7, 7 on the B and high E string with a barred index finger. Then pull off on the B string, 10th fret, going down to 7. That's part 1 of this lick. Next, we're going to play. Bend the G string 9th again, and then kill it as you reach the top of that bend by putting your pick back on top of the string. Do a pull off down to 7, and then go to the D string 9th fret. That's part 2. Alright, then we have 9th fret of the G string, 7th fret of the G string, hammer in to the 8th fret, that's out of the major scale now, and then go into the 9th fret of the D string. You put all 3 parts together, we have. Okay, now moving on to the lick for the A7 chord. Okay, so our next lick is going to combine notes from the A blues scale and also the E blues scale. It's going to look and sound like this, real slow. Okay, so that began on the 7th fret D string, going up to 10. 7th fret of the G string, then we're going to go 8, 9, hammering. Alright, so just going up the scale so far. The 8th fret of the B string, back to the 9th fret G, to complete part 1 of this lick. Alright, then we're going to play 7th fret of the high E string, 8th fret, bending a little bit of the B string, G string 9th fret, D string 9th fret. Alright, then we're going to play 7, 9, with that 9th fret being nice and short. Really, really cool little lick there. Okay, now putting the first lick and the second lick together, B7 to A7 chord change. So, over B7, we had. Over A7. And now we're ready for those fast 2-beat chord changes. Okay, time for your last lick, a lead style turnaround over those fast chord changes at the end of your progression. It's going to look and sound like this. Okay, so lots of hammers and pulls here, making it a little difficult, but we're going to break it down nice and slow for easy learning. So over the first chord in this series, we have the E9 chord coming in, over which we play. Very, very simple. 9th fret of the G string sliding up in, 8th fret B, 9th fret J, and back to the 8th fret B. Okay, it's going to sound great over that chord. Then over the A chord, we're going to play. Okay, hammering from 8 up to 10. Then we're going to pull down the 9, down to 8, and then go back to the 9th fret of the G string. Alright, then we're going to do a very, very similar technique, but we're going to go out 1 fret further. So, pinky is pulling down to the ring finger, 11th fret down the 10th fret, then 10th fret down the 9th fret, and then 9th fret down to 8th fret. And then going back to the G string, 9th fret. Then we're going to finish it up back on the E major chord, and then go into the B chord. So, slid up to the 12th fret of the B string, tapped it again, then the high E string 10th, 12th, 10th, and then back to the B string, 12th, which is a B note, which is going to match that B7. You put all that together, we have just like that. Okay, now the entire lead line going from the B7 to the A7 to the faster changes E, A, E, B. And that's how you play over top of a blues turnaround. Alright everyone, thanks so much for checking out this lead guitar tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, hope you found it useful and informative. I want to thank my patrons for making this and all my other lessons possible. Hope you're enjoying all those extra resources. I got many more videos coming up, so keep checking back. Please subscribe, please share. This is Rob at Swift Guitar Lessons in Philadelphia, saying happy picking.